Okay, welcome to part 6 of the Hood build, 350 scale model by Trumpeter. And in this part 6, I will show you the completed painted sides of the ship here. Just come up nice. Put 2 coats on that. Just come up really nice finish. Now, what I plan to do today is the black waterline. So I'll be masking along here and we'll be spraying that a camo black, which is a dull flat black, and we'll get that painted up. Also, something I've worked on yesterday is what I'm going to do is the portholes that I've drilled out on the side of the ship and all the portholes that are on here. I'm going to fill them using a toothpick with the MIG Ultra Glue, because this actually dries clear. And what it does, and I did one last night, and I know it's probably not going to be able to see this, but there was one porthole there. I really don't think I'll get that on, be able to see. There's one porthole in there that I put a little drop in, and it's created a glass effect in the porthole. And you may not be able to see, but I can see even from this far away a slight glint of light reflecting off that dried glue in there that gives it the appearance that there's glass in there. So what I'm thinking of doing is going along and doing all the portholes. There's quite a lot, but it's not hard to do. You just have to make sure that it's thinned down, just because this is an acrylic water based, so you can use water to thin this glue just to the right consistency, so that when I use the toothpick and just touch, it'll just sit there in the porthole. I can just go along and touch each one and let it dry clear, and it looks really, really good. So I will do that today. I will do that. I don't know whether I'll mask and do the line on that first, or whether I'll do the portholes. If I do the portholes, I'll have to leave them overnight because they need to cure and set clear. Also, I've got all the little pieces, all the hatches and photo etch pieces that will be going on the fore and aft deck, which are in the other end, which I've undercoated. So they'll all go on after the decking goes on there. So we may even get the decking on that in this episode too. We'll see how that goes. So for the moment, I think I'll work on these portholes and do my base coat on the decks, because the undercoat will be dry now. And yeah, when I come back, we'll have a look. But there's a good tip if you want to make your portholes look just that little bit more realistic, like there's glass in there. Try it. Just test it and see how it looks. It's quite good. It's this little glint of reflection off the glass in there. It looks amazing. But we'll see how that looks after I've done all the portholes. Okay, so I'll be back in a second. We'll see what we're up to next. Okay, I thought I'd just show you. You See the reflection in the portholes there of the glass. Pretty nice. They are on there. I've only just, it took me literally 10 minutes and I completed this like 10 minutes ago. So they've still got to dry properly, but see, looks a little bit more nicer detail in there. So I'll continue with the rest of it. Have a look at it all later on. Be right back. Be back. Great line all the way. Uh, I didn't leave the masking tape on long because I didn't want it to pull any of the metal etch degaussing strip I put on before, but it hasn't. It was fine. But really, the masking tape, as long as it's, you put your coats on and give it a couple of hours, take the tape off. I don't know why people leave their tape on for days. You really are risking taking your base paint off or whatever's underneath. There's no need. It's the tape's there just to protect it while you're putting the paint on, and that's it. So, the least time you can leave your masking on, the better, I believe. Okay, so I've also managed to, there, because that's still dry, also managed to finish all the portholes in here. So all of these portholes are now completed. I don't know if you can see any reflections in them, but it just shows that little bit of a shine of the glass in there. And the painting of the foredeck and aft deck is done. So what I'll do now is I'll put the decking down on it. Also earlier I forgot to mention I do have some more hose reels and a couple of little bits and pieces I've got to add to this that got to go on the deck. But, yeah, I'll come back and we'll have a go at the decking, some wood decking, get some of that put on. Decking on. What you'll see is I've put some toothpicks in here that'll stop it dropping onto that before I want it to, so I've just got a bit more control as I'm lowering it down. I'll use the two turret mounts, which will be what they'll go over to begin with, because I know that if those two are lined up, then each end should fit in quite well. So now it's a matter of peeling this up. Whoa. Okay, that's split there. Be careful there. Back from this way. Good. There. This one out. Put it in there. And out. Good. Final piece. Beautiful. There's nothing worse than trying to peel the deck back off if you haven't got it straight. That's why I use the toothpicks to make sure it's goes down in a controlled way. Now is I'll just run along all the edges, make sure they're all tight. When I peeled the plastic off, I noticed that it caught and it actually split the decking. Fortunately, I saw that before it got too bad, but yeah, you can't see that's invisible completely. You do have to be careful taking it off. These decks are, even though they're thin, it's really sticky and it doesn't take much for it to do some damage. That's come up nice. Edges down tight. It's perfectly corners. You can see, show you a moment. See where I've got the holes there for the pieces to go in, because all those pieces I took off the mouldings for, because they'll be replaced with photo etch, and the photo etch is actually, some bits are bigger than the original decking pieces were, so this would not have fitted over the top of it, made a mess of things. So that's why I've had to, when I do put them on there, we'll paint them while they're on there. And that's also why I clear coated the whole deck, because I'm using water-based paint, and if I do touch up and get a little bit of paint on the deck, it'll just wipe off. So it's not going to be a problem. So that's good. Now I'll do the other end, which is, it's all been painted up. All the moulding that's staying there, the anchor runs and the different little pieces, I've painted them all the grey I want them to be. Painted that the colour of the ship, that'll be shown. The rest, as you see by the decking on it, it'll go over the top of all that, and that'll save me painting at least the bits that are already there moulded on. The rest of the little holes will be all the added photo etch, the break wall, the water, and all that. They're all photo etched to be added later. So I'm going to go put this one on now, and we'll see how they both look. Yep, be back shortly. Alright, so that decking went on okay. I actually had to put it on in about three different pieces because some of these bits were so thin that there's no way they could have been pulled off the plastic without breaking. So I cut them off separately and I glued them down separately. Some of these bits are just absolutely wafer thin. So it all went well. So now, pretty much at the stage where this can all be glued, all the decking can be glued on. So just try and fit that there like that. And we've got this one, which will go here like this. Go there. And this is going to be pretty tricky because I've dry fitted this before. And I should have put that first. So look, it's going to go there. And then that'll go on top. Pretty much like that. Right, so now what I've noticed is that the actual outside of the ship has bent outwards a little bit. So these decks don't just sit there snugly. They've got to, I'm going to have to clamp and do what, so what I'll do is I'll do the foredeck here first, and I will use clamps. I've got these small clamps here, and I'll clamp it in. Then I will do the stern here. After that's completely dry, clamp this in, and then because I will probably I'll be able to sit that on top. That'll sit perfectly on top of that. Then it's just a matter of putting together all the little bits and pieces on the decking, and still putting together more photo etch. And there's a lot of photo etch everywhere, and that's before I even start on the top deck. This haven't even begun yet. Again, there's wood decking for this as well. There's a lot to be done on here, but at least we'll get that on, and it's starting to look like a ship. So I'll get onto that and then come back and see how that looks like when it's glued. Camera down. Now, photo etch is all attached and needs to be painted. Most of the fittings are all on the front there. I do have to paint, as you can tell, some bits there, and also the water break wall. I don't know if that's what it's called. It goes across in behind this and across is all photo etch. And the photo etch is very thin and it runs across through there. I don't know how they organised it, but there's holes in the wood deck that are going to be able to be seen beneath the break wall. So hopefully I can position it so that it's going to cover those holes properly. There's also braces in there that go behind the wall, but that should be fine. That's all glued down. Then we go along to the stern here, and I've got all the photo edge pieces on there as well. They'll all get painted up. I've just taken the clamps off this, and that's all glued down nice and tight. I may run some super glue underneath it. Just turn it over and run underneath. Make it a bit more stronger. And then the next thing we'll be putting the deck on the top here. So hopefully that will happen pretty soon. I'm going to work on that photo edge so I can complete those before I start building up on working on this. That's all done, everything that goes under there and everything's painted. This will just need to be fitted to here, which will probably be the next step, just to be sure there's nothing I've missed around that needs to be done, but I think this is to be attached now. Yeah, and then of course there's the piece on top of here, which is a lot of work still to come, so work on that later. So that's it for the moment, and I'll put the rest in the next video, which will be part 7. Yeah, so please leave any comments, like any questions or any tips. Oh, one more thing I'm going to be doing is I haven't done the portholes, the glue in the portholes yet along here, so I'll be doing that. So they look like they've got glass in there. I'll get that done too. Yeah, so if you like the video, like, subscribe if you want to follow, and subscribe and hit the notifications. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.